Hello, thank you for being here. And in today's video I am sharing how you can meal prep when you don't have a lot of time. Perhaps you don't have a whole day or weekend to meal prep. You can follow this process. As I shared in a past video, I wanted to meal prep over the weekend, but I realized I have guests and so I couldn't do that, and I decided to do this, and it worked very well, and I thought perhaps I will start doing this. So I showed you my menu that I worked on for this season and tweaked it a little, and then now I began the meal prepping. This happens to be our first day of school. We have had a busy day, and so a busy holiday, and so I couldn't have done much when it came to meal prepping, and yet I really need to do it when I start the term so that I'm able to move through the month really well. And so you saw there, on the first day when we did our prep of homeschool, and if you missed that video, you can find it on the channel. I will link it also below. I just began by soaking those grains and boiling them because I needed them, but I thought the other grains I will boil them when I have worked on my freezer, just to be sure what I have in the freezer so that I don't overdo grains. I tend to overdo them actually. So that was the first day, and on the second day when we began school, I also couldn't do much because I had to give my mind full concentration to school and starting off well. And so I just did that giant batter for banana cake, and I was able to do about 3 kgs of banana cake. That would take us for about 3 weeks, and then I would do something for the 4th week because we have cake at least once every week.
I'm thankful to God. I just love banana cake. You almost cannot go wrong. So we have our cakes for the month. Grateful.
Day 2 really on Tuesday. I would say now I was done with the cakes, with only just one round to go for one of the weeks, and then I packed these grains that I had boiled, the ones I soaked initially on Monday, and I was good to go for day 1 and 2. Good morning, this is Thursday. I've begun the day as always, and I would encourage you to do that with your personal devotion, with your time of prayer with the Lord, because He gives you clarity, direction, even as you think about simple tasks such as meal prepping. Well, meal prepping is not a simple task, but He will guide, He will direct you in the same. And so today it really is the bulk. It's going to be the bulk of my meal prepping because we've settled a bit in school, and I have a full day today when the children are able to work on their own a lot. So I will keep peeping in, getting to see how they are doing, and then continuing with the meal prep. So I'm doing a lot of the meal prepping, and I hope you can join me on the journey and enjoy and get nuggets out of this and just be blessed by the process. I can tell you, you can still meal prep even when you don't have a full weekend or a day to do that. Just do a little at a time, and you will find by the end of the week, or at least a few days, you will be done and ready to go for the month. So please join me. You might have seen on our menu that on Wednesday is our day of prayer, and so I didn't also do a lot on Wednesday actually. And so as we speak, like I have mentioned, this is Thursday, the bulk, because at least the children were now settled a little in school, and I could get in for some period of time, supervise what they are doing, and then come back to continue. And I started with Mandazi. I am going to link below the recipe. Actually not Mandazi, but mahamri. Very delightful recipe. I only wished I didn't have to add cinnamon. I think the other spice, cardamom, tasted really nice. So you don't really need to add cinnamon, just do with the cardamom and you will be good to go. I like to have Mandazi on hand in the freezer because it really helps, especially when you have guests who are just dropping in, and you can be able to serve them the Mandazi. So I got the Mandazi going. We also will usually take Mandazi at least the first day when they're fresh, and we have them for breakfast like we were going to have them for breakfast this particular day. I started the day quite early. Now you can see my cakes ready to be packed. And that I was able now to pack on Thursday. You don't have to wait like I did. I think I just got overtaken and I didn't do that. Just pack them the next day. So, but we live in a rather cold place, so the cakes are still okay. Again, I left some pieces there for someone who would want to taste banana cake. I mean, banana cake is just tasty. So I packed them and off they went to the freezer. Now I began what I would say is my main project, because bread tends to be eaten a lot, because I have it, like you saw on my menu, for breakfasts, also for sandwiches, and people just tend to love bread. So I was going to make a lot of bread this time. I also, God was gracious, He provided, and I was able to get very nice bread tins that did an excellent job. Mandazi, I allowed it to rest for a while, and there we go, getting to work on our mandazi. This was a bit early in the morning. Our children hadn't gone to school, so they are always excited. I think for some reason when I meal prep, they want to be there, they want to help, and so I will employ the help of our children here and there when they are on their break. The other reason I love to have mandazis on hand is they can actually supplement your cooking, your breakfast, like when you have more guests than you anticipated and what you had prepared is not sufficient. So there goes our mandazi. Once it has cooled, we will have some for breakfast, but also most of it will go to the freezer. Now our bread had proofed enough, and now I was ready to arrange this first batch into my tins and allow it to proof further for at least 20 or so minutes, and then we would have them ready to bake. And in case you're interested in this very simple recipe of bread, I will also link it below because it's on our other channel and we really love this bread recipe. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Look at those tins, really nice. So there goes our first batch, and in a few minutes, in 20 or so minutes there, it has risen. So I am applying some egg wash on the bread so that it can get into the oven and ready to bake. Meanwhile, I had already done the second batch of the bread. I am also working, I just worked on bread from now, taking a little break to do something, a change, tea scones, but mostly I worked on bread, and you can see how delightful they came out. Now, this is something that I had never tried before concerning bread, using this parchment paper or using this baking paper. It worked wonderfully and I would recommend the same. I didn't know it would work so well, in that once you have it in the tins, I forget the channel that I learned from, how to cut it so that it can fit in well in your tins. Just getting it out is so easy and you don't have to struggle applying fat or marge in your tins. This worked so wonderfully. Wow, it's around 2 now. I'm thankful I've made a lot of progress. I will show you. I'm really excited about the bread because it's coming out really well, and I will show you the result of that. But we took a break to do a photo shoot, and this one is really special. It's always special because it's our 13-year-old who does it, and I'm thankful that she's growing in that skill of taking photos. And so I'm hopeful that after this they can continue with some school, because we began a little late. Now that I'm doing a partial meal prep, a little meal prep each day, and then now I hope to finish with the breads. I have 2 more breads to make. We need to get some eggs from a neighbor because our chicken are just 4, so the eggs are not sufficient for us to make bread, but we will get some, and then I'll continue, hopefully finish, and then we continue with the day. But I'm hopeful that you're getting a lot of value as well out of this. Next, I began work on the tea scones. I decided to do the tea scones because in our previous video I had mentioned that a guest brought us bananas, and when they ripened they were quite a significant amount, so that's why I decided to do that banana cake, and also now to do banana tea scones because they are different in taste, unique also, so they will not be too much of monotonous. We are continuing with school. We took a break for the girls to go get eggs for us from the neighbor, like I said earlier. So we are catching up with school. It's actually 4. I still have those 2 batches of bread to work on, and then we will be done. So I'm hopeful that they can continue with school until they are done, but hopefully before 6 we should be done. Yeah, but we've had breaks in between, so I'm sure they are okay to continue that long today. Yep. But hopefully we will be done before the day ends, right? Here comes the tea scones. I tell you, they are tasty. Actually, they are very, very tasty, and I will link that recipe below. I'm sure you will also enjoy it as well. I may tweak it a little because it's meal prepping, reduce some ingredients here and there, but if you just make it as it is, you're going to enjoy it a great deal. I also changed part of the bread into bread rolls or bread scones, because this would be good for you to make, especially like if you want to make the recipes that go with bread scones. They may not be perfect like the ones in the store or supermarket, but they are good. You will love them. Now, the underbelly of meal prepping is the kitchen. I mean, right from the top counters to the sink to the floor, it becomes just a huge mess. And this was probably around 6 going to 7, but I knew I cannot work on supper unless I sort part of this mess. Thankfully, there's a lady who comes to help us, so a huge bulk of the dishes she would help us, but we knew we just have to get some washed and get the kitchen sorted. So that's what we went ahead to do, as my daughters also worked on that. It's a laundry room that is incomplete. Parts of our houses are incomplete, but they are working on that also to sort it, because for some reason they just love decluttering. I think there's a lady we follow on YouTube, the Minimum Mom. I think she does a wonderful job decluttering, and my children have just gotten impressed by that, and they are just into decluttering, which really helps me because they embrace their chores with a lot of excitement when they know part of it involves decluttering. So that's what they are doing on that space, and they did a wonderful job. Now on to the floor. I mean, just spills, you cannot avoid them when you're meal prepping, and I know this is part of the clearing up I have to do.
At least we've tried and cleared the kitchen quite. I'm thankful. And now we have clear surfaces. Now I outdid myself. Can you imagine? I made 16 pieces of bread. I was excited about those tins that I got out of Naivas. Actually, they were just slightly higher in cost than the ones we get in Juakali. So I thought, let me get those ones, and they've done a good job. I think I'll be making my own bread now. It looks like bread, or rather it is bread. And these banana tea scones, very nice and crunchy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to enjoy them. We will enjoy them because I thought it's good to do them now that we have 3 pieces of cake. So the 4th week we will do this, or if we have guests, I mean, we will use them. And then the last batch of bread, I decided to make them into rolls or bread scones, because they can help if you want to try and make burgers or whatever, you know, the recipes that go with this. And then finally our mandazi, and that's in a short while. So basically that's what I did today. Hopefully tomorrow I will do more, not many cereals or grains, because I think I have a lot of them in the freezer, and then we will be done for the month, especially when I'm able to get, I think we have arrowroots, so get some sweet potatoes, get the meat. I think that's what we have, because I've decided not to do chapatis this month. I love chapatis fresh, and because I am told I make chapatis very fast, I am going to risk making them during supper, just few, so I won't make those. But basically when breakfasts are sorted, I feel good.
This is Friday. Thank you for joining me today. I am standing here beside the freezer. That's what I began doing, and I'm going to take you along that journey as we meal prep, especially when you don't have time. And I'm sharing the fact that you can meal prep a little at a time every day of the first week, so that it can cover the next 4 to 5 weeks of your month, and that will make your program easier, especially if you're homeschooling like I'm doing, or you're working from home. Makes your time really precious, and therefore you can meal prep the way I am doing this particular month. I actually like it very much, and I will see whether I would consider doing this, because I think it's been effective so far. So let me take you along the journey of what I have been doing as I meal prepped today, and of course now I will again show you what we will do tomorrow and Sunday, possibly, if we won't have finished our meal prepping. If you're new here, my name is Clara, a mother of 2, married to Muruga, and we homeschool. We serve the Lord with what we do. We try to make our lives count for the glory of God, and we share this journey with you so that in some way we would be an encouragement to you. So again, thank you for joining me. Let's go on. Let's come along with us. Like I mentioned, my children love meal prepping and they love to help. Yeah, so that's why they are so excited that they can help a little before we get to school. So now that's the freezer. You can see very disorganized because I haven't worked on it for a month or 2, I think. And I'm also doing this so that I'm able to just to know what is in the freezer, because sometimes if you don't work on your freezer well, I have shown you when I've already cleaned it, it's clear and ready to be packed. Usually when I don't do this, I will tend to over meal prep, especially grains or cereals like I shared, or other things that are hidden right under the freezer, and you find that you're not using them and you're buying more perhaps. So every time I meal prep, I love to clean the freezer. I also am trying to do now monthly meal preps rather than what I have done in the past 3 months, because that also causes me to over meal prep. Also, some things can actually stay for months because we are not working on them. Some things people may not like black beans, so I'm trying to reduce it to a month. Also helps me create a lot of space in the freezer. But if you like to meal prep for a whole month, I can also link that video below where we did if you like to meal prep for 3 months, I'll link below the video where we did for 3 months. Now this is Friday, and so I am packing the breads. I ran out of my Ziploc bag, so I'm using that foil paper to pack some of the bread. And then at least now I'm aware of what is in the freezer. I've actually realized I have a lot of grains, so I'm only going to buy 2 kinds, dengu and beans, and that's what we will have for this month. So, how are you doing?
Fine.
Okay.
Whoa! The big splash. Break time called Mr. Friendson. He may go outside. The rain has stopped.
I thought I'd do a lot that Friday, but I couldn't. I think also I needed to prepare for guests. We needed to work with school. So that's all we did for Friday and Saturday. Today is Sunday. I am adding another batch of bread rolls or bread scones because I have staying guests at least for a month, and so I thought what I prepared may not be enough. So that's what I'm doing on Sunday because I wasn't able to buy the extra grains, and then I would do chapatis just for 1 week because like I mentioned earlier, we seem to enjoy fresh chapatis, and I thought why don't I make on Sundays when I'm around, I can make chapos so that we eat them fresh and then keep others to eat through the week to supplement the meals of the week. So that's what I'm doing for today for meal prepping, and then hopefully tomorrow when we are done with the grains, we would be done with our meal prepping at least for the next 5 weeks. Those are 25 bread rolls. You don't have to be perfect with the size because these are homemade, but I'm hopeful they will supplement our meals. And hopefully if I could do another set like this one, I will feel like I am done for the week. But if I'm unable, no problem, it's okay. So straight to the oven. I feel it's right for me to say this. For a long time, I meal prepped without using an oven. I say this because some of us might be looking at what I'm doing and thinking, I must have an oven to be able to meal prep breakfast, especially breads. But if you check our other channel where I share recipes, I do most of them without an oven because that's what I did for a number of years. What I'm saying is you don't need an oven to meal prep. You can do it without. And I made bread on my pans and I kept in the freezer cakes, whatever needed an oven, I would do it without an oven, and that served us for a number of years. Some of us who have been to our house those early days know that that's true. So what I'm saying is, please don't get intimidated because you think you must meal prep when you have an oven. You can do it without. Just check out our other channel, Recipes and Hospitality with Clara, and you will see how you can do it. It's really not difficult. You can still meal prep. So this is what I'm doing. I hope if it will be possible, I'll do another round, but if not, I think that's sufficient for the month. So that's what I managed to do on Sunday afternoon. I worked on the bread, and that's how my rolls came out. I have a gas oven, and for some reason it just doesn't brown the top really nicely, but they taste very nice, so I still don't mind. As you saw, I ended up doing chapatis that would last us for 3 meals, which was still okay. I think at least for that whole week we were sorted with chapatis. I decided I would do them every week, like I said, and then boiled the meat and packed it also for the freezer, and then soaked my beans, the dengu. I had also the sweet potato. I just thought, let me show you how we do it in the western part of Kenya. We create some kind of pressure for the sweet potatoes to boil really well. So you cover it with banana leaves. You just cut a banana leaf or two and you cover them really well. My pan happened to be big because my potatoes were a lot, so that's why it wasn't fitting very well. And then I covered and placed that heavy stone on it so that it would create even better pressure now that I was using open fire. Our meal prepping definitely spilled over to the next week when I boiled these sweet potatoes and the grains, but I'm thankful at least those were the last few things I was going to meal prep this month so that I would cook less but still cook, because I enjoy cooking. So honestly, I don't like to meal prep or make a meal from scratch and keep it in the freezer. I think I also leave space for myself so that I can be able to cook and sharpen my skills, but that's sufficient at least to reduce our cooking time every evening very significantly. Forgive my voice, I have a cold, but let me give you an overview from my menu. You can see Monday, the breads are sorted. Spaghetti and egg is not very hard to make. When we have ugali and milk, or I choose a protein that is very easy to make, like liver, kidney and such, it's also very easy to make. Sweet potatoes are done, sandwiches, the bread is done, chapati, the cereal is done. I decided to be baking chapatis fresh. We come to the evening, we have rice and a protein stew that's already done. And then we come to Thursday, our arrowroots are done. Usually if I do cassava or boiled maize, I will also boil beforehand. Pizza, I also decided to be doing the pizza dough fresh because also it gets bitter. That's why I didn't meal prep it. Cake, we have mokimo and githeri, we have dropscone, and the others are also easy to make, so I don't need them. Egg is also easy to make. Bread we have and chapati. When I make the chapati, I do it, that's on Tuesday, I do it to cover at least 2 or 3 meals, so I know chapati will be in the freezer for Sunday evening, because Sunday you don't want to do a lot, you just want to prepare for the next day. So I hope just that meal prepping, covering most of our menu and leaving us room to also cook some of the things, will help you as well. I hope you've gotten motivation, you have been blessed by what I have shared today, even to bless your own meal prepping. Let me bring the video to a close here. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I have a bad cold, so excuse my eyes and my voice. I'm hopeful that this has been a blessing. Please check out this playlist also of other videos where I have done meal preps, and you can also check out another video that would be a blessing to you, perhaps as a stay-at-home mom or as a mom who just is looking to get motivation towards being productive, being fruitful for the glory of God. So thank you for joining me. Look out for our next video, again a delightful one, and until then, bye.